County takes all of their team through except for one weight class. They were three weight classes short of a full team, so they dropped one of those, so they're going to take 15, they're going to take 8.
But now, with this
10.
regional being equal to a boys semi-state, you've got an elimination round where you're going to cut out half the wrestlers in the state. You're going to have another elimination round where you eliminate the other half, or half of the remaining half, I should say. Yeah. And so very quickly, these teams are going to get trimmed down to the very best in the state. And, of course, the ticket round is going to be awesome. And if you're able to listen on Friday to either one, make sure that you tune in.
And we talked about USA bracketing and what I will find, and you'll find it when you're running a tent. There's a few little nuances to that make it a little bit easier and a little bit nicer to broadcast a tournament than track wrestling.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Well, let's send it back for 2 spots here to Steve in the studio, and when we come back, we'll have a discussion about the girls sectionals, and we'll talk with New Haven head coach Jimmy Lynn.
Based out of the Indiana Tech Wrestling Facility, the Warrior Regional Training Center is an elite training center for youth wrestlers, high school wrestlers, and college and senior level athletes. Featuring a college coaching staff with a strong history of developing talent and producing results, Warrior RTC will give any wrestler quality training partners to push them to new levels in the state-of-the-art 25,000 square foot wrestling building. The training is affordable and private training is also available. Put Warrior RTC in your corner this season.
When faced with the difficult task of making arrangements for your loved one, many emotions and questions arise. What would they want me to do if they were here? Where is the money coming from? How much should I spend? Do they want burial or cremation? The staff at Haggard, Hershey, and Zelt Funeral Home can help you navigate these tough questions. Make your wishes known and allow us to make sure that your wishes are carried out. Call Ryan Hershey or Eric Zelt at 260-724-7167 to schedule an appointment today.
Welcome back once again to the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill for another episode of the Haggard Hershey Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly. And we have a guest in our presence tonight, our title sponsor, the Hershey of Haggard Hershey Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly. Ryan Hershey, thanks for coming in. A little round of applause. He once told me his dad told him if you're going to invest money and go all in, and he's happy that he's part of this program.
It has brought them statewide renown, so we appreciate that. And, of course, it's really cool what we get to do every week on Sundays and be able to broadcast to people across the state and to meet people and to talk to coaches and get their opinions. I know talking to some of the guys on the team state committee about some of the seating things that we had to do, people might laugh, but sometimes the easiest way to get the answer that you need is to text one of the coaches and say, what do you think? And for the most part, coaches are pretty darn honest. They'll tell you, no, we don't belong up there. Now, sometimes they may want to sneak their way down the seating line for a little bit, and you can't have them selling themselves short. But there are times when they're like, okay, we got 3 teams here. Let's text 2 of them or 3 of them and see. Should you guys be number 1? They're like, nah, we don't deserve that.
Well, that's evident with Zionsville. Zionsville got the bid, they got voted in, and then they said, we're going to decline, and then the Oberlins, the Fighting Oberlins, they wanted in, and that they get their break and they're in now.
Yeah, and they're certainly excited to be in there, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do in those matchups. Of course, we've talked so much all season long about the Big Three. I don't know whether anybody else in that field is going to be able to compete with those Big Three, but I do think we're going to have some great dual meets from 4 through 8, and Homestead's certainly going to be a part of that. We will bring you the 4A bracket when we get through our next 2 segments here. Right now we're going to talk a little bit more about the girls, though. And, of course, we just brought you all 16 team sectional winners. And we also had on WZBD.com the article with the interviews from everybody that you talked to, along with some thoughts and some scores and some results and some nice pictures there provided by Jay County. And I certainly appreciate Eric's help in getting that up. And it was difficult to get anybody else down there to take pictures, but I sent a message to Eric and said, hey, if you send me some pictures, we'll put it up on the website. So we certainly appreciate sometimes when it comes to the website, if coaches help out just a little bit, we can do a lot with it if they send those in.
I did see one photo on there that I took that was a phenomenal photo of the overall crowd and the venue. But
did I give you credit for that?
Yes, you did. Of course
good.
You did.
I also took a photo of you last night, by the way.
Did you now?
Collecting your winnings in the 50-50 drawing again.
Again. But I'll tell you what, there's a difference between boys tournaments and girls tournament, and the fact that if you go down and tell coaches after they win, send some girls up to talk to me, there's a line of girls waiting to talk. Boys, you got to go run them down and chase them down. They're like, do I have – girls, they are lined up in row, and it's like, oh, you're here already?
And, of course, you have that unique challenge of trying to remember every single one of them by look, right, by face. Yeah. And they're not in their singlet, they're in their warm-ups, or they're in their sweatshirts or whatever. And you do a good job of just asking them, hey, now remind me who you are and what weight you wrestled and what school you go to.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the Jay County girls, I've seen them enough. I know who they are. But there's a couple of those other girls, and I know Kenley Keffer, she gave us a shirt. She goes, yeah, I remember giving you a shirt. I said, yeah, I remember getting a shirt. It's at home. So
Jay County scores 232 points, and I think they have 6 or 7 individual
champions.
6 champions. Hamilton Southeastern comes in 147 points. New Pal, a very established program over the last couple of years, they finished third with 143. And how about Blackford? Blackford had 96 points, finished in 4th place. They've got a really strong team, and really cool to see some of those Muncie schools, north of Muncie schools, that kind of area, all the way down to Hamilton County. Some really small schools have a lot of success with the girls at the sectional.
I think Blackford had 2 champions. They got the one Flores girl that we've seen for quite a few years, and she's very talented as well. And then they had one, I think she took 2nd. There's another one that is a little bit lower in weight.
So for those of you who are just getting into the sport, the format for Friday is going to be the same as a traditional boys semi-state. The 4 sectional champions from the girls will act as the 4 regional. Those 4 regionals will come in. It's a 16-man bracket. It's single elimination for the first 2 rounds. That ticket round match is going to be really, really important, obviously, because it punches your ticket to Indianapolis for the state finals, and then from there they'll wrestle for the top 4. They'll hand out regional championship trophies, which really are akin to a semi-state championship. And then from there, we'll wait on the state brackets. I have not heard from anybody, but I would almost assume that the IHSWCA is going to do some sort of...
Probably a Sunday night thing like they do for the boys.
Some sort of video, I don't know, or whether they'll just release them. But you can find those brackets online on usabracketing.com. Unlike track wrestling, it does require you to take the minimal step of creating a profile.
Creating an account takes 30 seconds.
And it is a little bit interesting to navigate once you get the hang of it, though. I think it is pretty easy to follow. And the other thing that I would tell you, if you are interested in getting into the sport and finding out more about it, Indiana Matt's done a great job of updating the rankings. I know I saw that Brandon updated the rankings once he saw who was placed in what weight, and he updated those. And, you talked to some of the girls, and by the way, this is our warning to Steve that we're going to play the spots here coming up real soon. Those girls all knew, well, I got this girl, I've seen her before, I'm ranked this, she's ranked that. Just a general idea of what's going on and where they stand. And some people will say that, rankings don't matter and that you shouldn't pay attention to them at all. But I think for a lot of the girls, they recognize, okay, this is going to be a tough challenge. If I win this is going to be a really great win for me. And I think that's okay. I don't think you necessarily have to go into every single match saying, I know nothing about this person, I'm just going to wrestle him.
Some of the girls did. They say, yeah, I don't look at it.
Yeah, and it's preference, of course, and it depends on the program and the coach. But it is nice to know that the girls pay attention to the publicity that they get through Indiana Matt, through our show, through whatever local media outlet is covering them. And of course, we hope that there's lots of media outlets covering them here this next week, and of course at the state finals.
There was one this past weekend.
There was one this past weekend. I don't know if there was any photographers or newspaper places, but
there's a young man from newspaper Muncie was sitting next to me.
Awesome. Well, we wanted to give you a sneak peek as to what some of those conversations were. We're going to play at the studio an interview with Sophia Gropp, who was the champion from Westell at 155 pounds, and then a couple of Jay County champions, and Katie Rouse and Tatiana Willis, and then also our interview with Kenley Keffer. And we'll go ahead and play that now.
Sophia, you had a good match today. You ended up being champion today?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, and what weight class were you at?
155.
Did you think you wrestled well today?
For my first 2 matches, I think I did pretty good. I obviously still have stuff I need to work on. And my last match, I did have quite a big scare. But, in the end, I still came out and won. So
Was it some of the competition today, there's people that you've already wrestled against that you knew you had some tough matches with, or were they pretty much new competitors?
I think my first two people I knew.
Now, are there people next week in the regional level that you know you're going to have to step your game up to compete against?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, thanks a lot for stepping up here and talking to us, and
Thank you.
appreciate it. And I'm joined by Katie Rowles of the Jay County Patriots, who is our champion today at 100 pounds. And, Katie, you get a fall in 36 seconds. Your first match wasn't much faster than that, and you told Coach Myers he couldn't blink very much because you might miss your next match, too.
Yeah, that is true. It's always a good time talking to Myers after the matches, win or loss.
It's better when you win than when you lose.
That
right?
is for sure.
Is there anybody really challenged you here today?
Not in my matches today. We had a pretty small bracket, but next week it's going to be a lot tougher. We have 5 of the top 8 girls all in the same weight class, and only 4 can advance.
Old pros like yourself, they know who's in the bracket, who's going to have to wrestle, and the seedings will probably come out like Sunday night late, and then you get to see who you're going to wrestle. And where are you ranked in the state right now?
I believe 5th.
Okay. Congratulations on your win today, and good luck next week.
Thank you very much.
That's been Katie Rowles of Jay County Patriots. I'm joined by Tatiana Willis. Tatiana, were there any matches today that you had that you really had to work for and really had to step your game up for?
I would definitely say the finals match. She was good. She was strong. Had to readjust, get in good position, and continue to battle it out. I was prepared to wrestle a whole 6 minutes, so it was a good match.
You wrestled against Schultz of Hamilton Southeastern, and it was a pretty close match for a while, and then you get to fall in 4:30. Just a couple matches a day, but next week I think you're going to have a full day of wrestling.
Yes, and I'm excited about it.
Well, congratulations on your sectional victory here today, and have a good week of practice, and we'll see you next week at Alexandria.
Okay, thank you. See you next week.
You were the 105-pound champ, correct?
Yes.
I didn't see much of your match because it was so fast. You didn't spend much time on a match today, but did you have a good day of working on some things to know that you're going to have to work on when the competition gets tougher next week?
100%, yeah. I'm trying to think of who's in our regional. I don't really know. I like to think that everyone's a challenge and to just go out there and wrestle, but...
Did you have a good summer of training to get some good work in to get to the point where you're at today?
Yes. We do a lot of, conditioning and weightlifting, too, which isn't my favorite, but...
It's all part of the game, but did you wrestle in some big summer tournaments to get some experience?
Yeah, I went to nationals for the first time and got second there, so that was a real confidence booster.
I'll tell you what, I appreciate you coming up and talking to me, and congratulations on your win today. And we look forward to seeing you wrestle next week, as I will be at Alexandria covering the regional next week. So congratulations, and have a good week of practice.
Thank you.
Great job, Rex, on those interviews, and we look forward to doing a lot more of those on Friday with our 2 regional sites. We're joined now by the head coach of the New Haven Bulldogs, the defending state champs in girls wrestling, and now inaugural IHSWCA sectional champs. Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Tell us a little bit about how the day went and how you celebrated.
Well, I didn't do much celebrating with them in person anyway because I was at the North Montgomery holiday tournament with the boys. But I spent the entire day following along with them. It was a battle, start to finish. We knew coming in that us in Columbia City were kind of going to be the front runners for the championship, and that's exactly how it happened. It came down to the wire, down to the last match. We needed a pin, and our heavyweight, Delicia McGee, came away with a fall and sealed the win for us.
What a great moment to be able to win a sectional title like that. We had a similar situation in our boys sectional last year where it came down to the very last weight and it was up in the air, and it just sort of adds to the mystique of winning that IHSWCA trophy, and I'm sure your girls were really excited to win it.
Absolutely. We've been in the past. I've been on the end of some point and a half losses. It's fun, exciting when you win those close matches, and exciting for the girls when they come through. It was completely a team effort. Everybody did exactly what they needed to do in order for us to pull off the victory.
So, Jimmy, if you would have had another Ocampo in the lineup, it would have really helped seal the deal on the girls' side. But, again, she is a very integral part of your boys' team. And I did see that there was a post that she had her 150th career victory as well.
Yeah, that doesn't happen too often anymore. I mean, she's been a catalyst as far as girls wrestling and boys wrestling. Yeah, I think if she was in our girls lineup, it was like it was last year. I think we'd be. I mean, we're going to be competitive this year. We're going to be close to the top. But if we had her in our girls lineup, man, we'd be hard to beat.
So, Jimmy, a lot of the conversations that I had over the holidays with coaches at the Al Smith and other tournaments revolved around splitting time. You were talking about being at Northmont and the girls having sectional. Tell us a little bit about how you guys have gone about as a coaching staff deciding who goes where and how much involvement do you have when you know you're not going to be there? Yeah,
so just my involvement, I typically run most of the practices and get the girls ready. And typically I go with our boys unless we have an open spot, and then I go with them. But we rotate our coaches. Sam Ocampo went with the girls this weekend. He did a crazy task where he drove down to North Montgomery for the first day and then drove back after the first day and was with his daughter Isabel and our girls. We got a great group of coaches. We've got some great assistant coaches, Harley Brand, Chad Marks. We brought on Kaylee Bussard. Amy Ocampo helps out with us. So it's good to have a couple females on our staff. It's really kind of upped our mental game as far as that goes, and getting our girls ready for competition. It's been a real godsend to have such a deep coaching staff at New Haven.
Well, Coach, before we let you go, let's flip over a little bit to the boys' side of things. You guys are having a great season. You're in the 3A mix. You are currently, I believe, undefeated after your day at Northmont. Tell us about how your lineup's looking, how your boys are feeling, how you're approaching this coming Saturday.
We're feeling good. Obviously we roll in with some confidence. Haven't lost yet, but the main thing is not let that go to our head. We know it's going to be tough going there at 3A State. We know we're going to have to be on top of our game. We're battling through some things, but getting some kids back. We didn't have Braden Klauser over the weekend, which was great. Not great that he wasn't there, but great that we were able to wrestle through and get wins against some quality opponents without one of our best wrestlers. So we're excited. We're interested to see where we're going to be at as far as seed-wise goes, and we'll show up and we're going to wrestle tough like we always do.
Now, I noticed that your lineup looked like it had evolved a little bit. Heading into North Montgomery, you had some guys drop down a weight.
Yeah, so we just always kind of experiment with our lineup. We're not exactly sure where we're going to be at any given day, but we did get some kids down to a couple spots, and I think we're going to even be able to change it a little bit by this next coming weekend, where it just gives our lineup a little bit of, we can move kids around to get better matchups. You guys know how it is. It's all about matchups. We're looking for 7 wins, and we're looking to get bonus points and maybe steal something and fight off pins. It's all about points and matchups at this level, and we're trying to get our kids in positions where we can move them around and do what's best for our team as a whole.
Coach, last question before we let you go. I know we got a lot of coaches listening, especially a lot of coaches who are involved in Team State. You've got some travel ahead of you Friday night to go down to Franklin on Saturday. Why don't you just give us your synopsis as to how you approach the next couple of days as far as scheduling, when you practice, and how you travel how you handle an overnight trip.
Yeah, so our kids don't have school tomorrow, so it's kind of nice. They're going to have the day off. We're going to have a regular after school practice because I have to be at school, unfortunately. So we're going to kind of take the first day kind of easy, just kind of get accustomed to get back into things after a couple of days off, and then we're going to hit it hard for the next couple of days, and then we usually have a little bit lighter of a practice. We'll practice before we leave on Friday. We'll drive down there, get a good night's sleep, and then be ready to go in the morning. We also have the girls' state series that Friday as well, so our coaches will be there, and then I'll drive back and get the boys from school, and we'll be ready to go.
With that, Jimmy, we appreciate you calling in, and good luck this week, both on the boys and the girls' side, and we will talk to you soon.
Thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
Thanks. That's been Jimmy Lynn, the coach of the New Haven Bulldogs squad, and we ready for a break? With that, we'll send it back to studio. Steve Rouse running board for us as he does every Sunday night. We're back with more wrestling here on WZBD.
You don't always need an attorney, but when you do, the man to call is Brad Weber. Brad has extensive experience in most legal matters and will help you make your problems disappear. Keep this number handy, 452-7045. That's 452-7045. You just never know when you'll need the services of an experienced litigator like Brad Weber.
Shop local. It's a phrase we hear all the time, but for the staff and family at Package Liquors, it means something extra. Package, with locations in Decatur, Monroe, Berne, and Markle, is a local family-owned business that has been serving local communities for decades. We take your support and patronage and return it by supporting local athletes on WZBD and donating to different organizations across Adams County. The next time you're deciding where to shop, shop local. Shop at Package. It's where your friends shop.
Welcome back once again to the Hager-Hersheyville High School Wrestling Weekly, hosted by the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill. Rex Burr along with Dane Filling and a nice crowd of wrestling fans on air tonight, or in the house with us tonight as we get ready to reveal the brackets later on in the show as we work our way to that point in time.
Yeah, and Joe has put out on Indiana Mat a new Team State Info Center, so make sure that you pay attention to that. It's a good place to go, and a lot of people asking questions the last couple of weeks. There's links on there to the qualification procedures. How do I know what class my school was in this year? Why didn't we qualify? Those types of things. You've got the links to the track wrestling for all of them, along with the locations. A reminder that admission is $15 for adults, and students, kindergarten and under, are free. It's got everybody who qualified automatically, everybody who was voted in, and then a reminder that your track wrestling, flow wrestling subscription is required to watch, to stream the event. Nobody else will be streaming video for it other than them, which is one of the reasons why, if you're a 1A or a 2A fan locally here, make sure that you tune in. We will be the only media outlet covering the tournament from a radio standpoint.
And that doesn't surprise a lot of people, as we were the only media event covered for the sectionals. We're going to duel up for the regionals this weekend, and we'll be there for the state finals for the girls.
Yeah, so in this segment, we were hoping to talk to as many hosts of the tournaments as possible. So we're going to begin with the hosts of 2A, and we're going to talk to James Myers from Jay County today. So go ahead and dial up short Jay there. I think he knows that we're calling.
This is James.
James, Rex Brewer, and Dane Filling for the High School Wrestling Weekly. How are you this evening?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. Hey, we're going to talk to you about what it takes to put together the 2A Team State tournament that's being hosted this Saturday.
Okay. No problem.
Yeah, so we just wanted to give you an opportunity to let everybody know. I know with the tornado you guys had in the fall, things are a little bit different as far as layout-wise and parking-wise. What do you have planned? Where are the matches going to be? How many mats are you going to have in what gym? Should fans bring their own chairs, folding chairs, those types of things? Give us all the details.
Yeah, so obviously we had a tornado late in September that struck the building. We do have some modular classrooms in our north parking lot. That's where we're going to ask all spectators to park, is in the north lot. And they will enter door 8. We'll ask all the teams to park on the east lot and enter door 2. So we'll have 2 stations basically, one for spectators, one for teams to enter, so we can keep buses in one side and the spectators in another. In terms of the space, we're going to run it like we have typically done that last 2 years. We'll run 4 mats in our main gym with bleachers available upstairs and bleachers downstairs for the teams to sit, chairs. And then we'll run 2 mats in our auxiliary gym. We will have portable bleachers in there. Some spectators may want to bring their own lawn chairs to sit in the aux gym, and we're welcome to do that. The 4 mats in the main gyms where round 1 will begin. And winners will stay in that gym all day, and then the consolation side will take place in the auxiliary gym for the rest of the day.
And for the folks that are not quite familiar with Jay County High School, if you walk out of the lobby towards the concession stand area and you walk past the swimming pool and head down the glass hallway, you'll head in, and that is the auxiliary gym. There's like the small basketball gym, and that's where you're going to have the extra mats down there?
That's correct.
Okay.
Now, James, the most important question from Rex's perspective involves the food involved. Any insight as to what that's going to include?
Well, I can tell you our people do a great job of preparing the concessions for all day and for our workers. I know in the morning we'll have biscuits and gravy. We'll have other breakfast items as well. The afternoons, pulled pork, nachos, sloppy joes for lunch, for all those in attendance and our workers, and for people there to watch some good wrestling on Saturday.
Well, James, we thank you for taking our call and informing all 12 teams who are involved in 2A what they can expect. And we have no doubt here at WZBD that you're going to run a great tournament, and we look forward to being there and calling it.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Yeah, we'll send out, now the draw's out and released, we'll send information out to all the schools tomorrow morning to AD so they can get it out to their fan bases as well. So we appreciate it.
So, James, I was at Muncie Central, and as Eric Meyer said, you were part of the Jay County Travel and Road Show that pretty much helped run that Muncie Central thing, and you were on the microphone. Give me your quick impression of what you thought the wrestling skill level was of that tournament on Friday.
Well, I was sitting there next to some people, and we watched the girls' event grow over the last several years, and it gets better and better every year. The girls, it looks like they're putting in the time in the off season. They're getting their bodies ready for wrestling. It was a good day of wrestling there at Muncie Central Fieldhouse, and I was just thankful they invited us over to help run the event. And so we're looking forward to the regional this Friday and your guys' coverage of the event, which we appreciate so much.
Well, we thank you for taking the time to call in tonight, and I will see you on Saturday. Well, I'll see you on Friday, and then I'll see you again on Saturday. And we do appreciate the appreciation that the Jay County girls give us for coming out and covering them, because in the boys' side, you don't have 10 parents come up and thank you for being there to support them.
Well, like I said, it's great you guys are there covering our kids, and like I said, we appreciate all the coverage we get, both boys and girls. So yeah, thank you guys.
Okay, James, thanks for the call, and we'll be revealing the brackets here real soon.
Yeah, we'll see it. We look forward to it. We'll see you guys on Saturday.
Thank you.
That's been James Myers of the Jay County Wrestling Club.
Now, we were going to have Tony Curry here to speak on behalf of Adams Central as the host for 1A, but Tony told us that he wasn't feeling all that hot, so he sent me some of the information that he had. So they're going to run kind of the opposite of what Jay County is doing. They will have just 2 mats in the hangar, and they'll run 4 mats over in the SAC. And for those of you who are listening who are not familiar with Adams Central, it's not too far of a hike to go in between. The good news is the concession stand is sort of in between, and then there's another concession stand off to the side. So Tony said that the softball team is running the concession stand, both of them. Wrestling starts at 9 at all 4 sites. Of course, 12 teams. The top 4 seeds will have a bye and won't wrestle at the 9 o'clock round. They won't wrestle until 10 or 10:15. They will wrestle the top half of the bracket. So that would be, what did he say? Half the bracket in the hangar and half the SAC until the semifinals. So I have to think about it. The 8 and the 9 and the 5 and the 12 will be in the hangar, and the whoever wins those matches then will join the 1 and the 4, and they'll be in the main gym, and then the bottom half of the bracket will be over in the SAC. And then when they get to the semifinal round, they'll move the semifinals into the original gym, into the hangar, and that's where they'll wrestle those, and they'll wrestle the finals in the 3rd and 4th place match. Everybody else will be over in the new Student Athletic Center at Adams Central. Should be a great day. What else? Bleacher seating only, so no reason to bring in your own chairs. There's going to be bleacher seating available for you. And like I said, a 9 a.m. start there at Adams Central. When we come back after this next break, we will have a chance to talk to Derek Snyder, the head coach of the Brownsburg Bulldogs. They are serving again as the hosts of the 4A tournament. And after we get some details from him, we'll go ahead and reveal that 4A bracket for you. Right now, you're listening to High School Wrestling here on WZBD.
DDD Maintenance and Repair, owned and operated by Shane Reynolds, has your local professionals for heavy-duty truck and diesel engine repair. DDD Maintenance and Repair also offers full-service sand and glass blasting for your surface restoration projects. Whether it's getting your heavy-duty truck and diesel engine running like new or sandblasting your project to look like new, we have a blast renewing the past. Give Shane and the guys a call at 260-223-5442. That's DDD Maintenance and Repair.
The staff at Haggard, Hershey, and Zelt Funeral Home is honored to serve the community we love and live in. Locally owned and operated by Ryan Hershey and Eric Zelt, we understand that each family we serve and each life lived tells a unique story. Our goal is to offer comfort, care, and dignity to all who entrust their loved ones to our care. We are proud to call Adams County our home and look forward to serving you for generations to come.
Welcome back once again to the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill for the Haggard Hershey Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly, hosted by the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill. Once again tonight, wings on special, and I went with the wings and cheese curds, as I'm trying to low carb a little bit, so I thought wings was good. Our good friend, Mr. Hershey, he went with a big old pile of wings, and he took some to go, so he got some to go wings as well. So
I went with cheese curds tonight, Rex.
Just the curds.
In case you were wondering.
I saw it.
So we're going to dial up Coach Snyder here so we can get some information on the 4A tournament here as soon as Rex punches it in.
I think that's it.
I think that's right.
Hello.
Good evening, Coach Snyder. Rex Brewer and Dane Filling with the High School Wrestling Weekly. How are you this evening?
Hey, I'm doing well. You guys all right?
Yeah, we're good. We've been fed. That's what it takes to make us happy. We've been fed.
I hear that.
So, Coach, we've already spoken to the hosts at 2A, and we've got some information from the hosts in 1A. Why don't you go ahead and give us the brief synopsis of what's going to happen at Brownsburg on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all starting at the same time, but round one will start at 9 a.m. Anybody coming in is going to be able to enter door 15D or door 8. I think the tickets are the same for all the state tournaments, 15. They can purchase ahead of time or purchase with a card. They're not going to take any cash. And then we're going to go with the setup we've pretty much always used. We'll get.
Hello? You there, Coach? I think we dropped the coach. I think we lost him.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now you're back.
All right. I don't know where I got cut off. But I go with the same setup we've used most years.
You're cutting out again, Derek. Where you at? You in a tunnel someplace?
I'm not.
Huh.
Can you hear me all right now?
Well, now I can. You're kind of coming and going.
Okay. I'm not sure what the issue is. I've been having issues with my phone.
Okay.
That's okay. Coach, hey, I got a chance to watch your duel with Avon. Any chance that you're going to let some of the Cathedral and Mater Dei boys come down from the stairs from upstairs and bring out the fog machines?
I don't know what we've got planned. So usually for dual state, we'll do the last round underneath the lights.
And that'll be individual. So you'll wrestle the 3rd and 5th and 7th place matches and then save the championship for the end?
Yeah, I talked to some of our wrestlers, my administration, and a couple coaches, and most liked to go back to the format where we did the championship alone.
Awesome. Well, it's going to be a great tournament. You guys have done a good job hosting it the last couple of years, and I know it's a lot of work for you to not only be the head coach of the team, but also sort of the point of communication with those at the Coaches Association, with Pat Culp, with Greg Ratliff. It's a lot of extra work on that weekend, and you certainly need to be commended for it.
We enjoy hosting it. It's an awesome tournament. We look forward to it every year, and for us, it's not too much setup, formats. It's not like back in the day at Mishawaka when we were carrying those, 1,000-pound mats up bleachers across the school.
So, yeah, that's a long mat with one of those old Resolite mats across to the big boy gym.
Yeah, these guys are spoiled.
For sure. Well, Coach, before we let you go, let's go ahead and let you know that you are going to be the number 1 seed for the 4A Team State Tournament. You've had a great season so far, and it's well-deserved.
I appreciate it. We've got a few goals in our program, and one of them is always try to win a dual state title, and have not got that done anytime recently. So we're going to give it our best next week.
Thanks so much, Coach. We'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
That's been Coach Derek Snyder.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and reveal those brackets. I know Joe is working diligently back home to have the graphics up there with us, and Rex has got it up on his computer right now, so I think we're good to go. So probably no surprise then. Number 1 seed is Brownsburg, and then the last team in after Zionsville declined their bid. Homestead will be the number 8 seed, and that's who Brownsburg will wrestle first. And then on the same half of the bracket then, because remember 4A is just an 8-team bracket as opposed to the other 3 classes, it'll be the 4 and the 5 matchup between Mater Dei and Portage. And I think back to some really epic IHSAA team state dual meets, specifically the one back in, was it 2004 or 2005 when Portage ended Mater Dei's long streak at Team State. So that's a one with some historical implications. Then on this bottom half of the bracket, then the 3-6 matchup will be Center Grove against Avon, and the 2-7 matchup will be Crown Point and Cathedral. We have talked a lot about the Big 3, and of course the biggest decision for the seating committee is who gets separated from the other 2 on the other half of the bracket. But what we've seen in the last couple of years is a great semifinal match leading to an even better match in the finals. And, you know, for everything that we love about the 1A and the 2A team state tournaments, Rex, we love the kid who's 5 and 10 having a role. There's nothing better than watching a true dual meet between 2 teams when the final score for both teams ends in the 20s. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that is what we have seen the last couple of years in 4A, and it just speaks to the level that those programs are on right now, and I expect it to be no different this year.
Good deal.
Yeah, so we want to thank Coach Snyder for jumping on and telling us exactly what to expect from a fan's perspective for 4A. Sounds like they're going to do the finals all by themselves, which is really, really cool. We'll see whether they let the kids come down the stairs like they did when they wrestled Avon. When we come back, we are going to reveal the 3A team state bracket, and then we'll have a chance to talk with a coach or 2. Right now, you're listening to High School Wrestling Weekly here on WZBD.
Hello, this is Joel from your local hometown Package Liquors. Package Liquors provides the best selection of domestic, import, and craft beers in Z-Land. With locations in Decatur, Monroe, Bern, and Markle, you're always just a short drive away from picking up the perfect last-minute gift or just the right six-pack to watch the game with friends. You're never a stranger when you walk through the doors, and our smiling staff never has a problem giving you a recommendation when you're not sure what it is you need. Stop in at one of our 4 locations and see what hometown service looks like. Package Liquors. It's where your friends shop.
Does your smile need work? Maybe it's time for a cleaning and exam. Visit Laura Kugelhahn, DDS, and her knowledgeable, caring staff at Complete Smiles on North Main Street in Bluffton. Dr. Kugelhahn would love to help you maintain your dental health or transform your smile. Whatever your needs might be, Complete Smiles is there to help you. Dr. Kugelhahn is currently accepting new patients. Call 824-3100 to schedule an appointment.
Welcome back once again to the High School Wrestling Weekly, hosted by Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill. Rex Burwell with Dane Filling, as we've now released and revealed the 4A team state. And I see on Joe's Facebook Live feed he has the 3A team state bracket up there with my big ugly mug blocking out the bracket so people can't see who is there.
So, speaking from a team state seeding committee, an 8-team field is so much easier to seed because one of the things that we do from the very start of the season is take every common opponent that 2 teams have. And, of course, you can't really do that until you know who all is in the field, those types of things. But the 3A sheet, you just about need a magnifying glass to get, Rex, because there are so many common opponents. This is a field that has really wrestled a lot of like competition, and there are more head-to-heads in this field than in any of the other 3. And so I guess that makes sense as to how we kind of came up with our tiers. I thought that there were really 3 teams, and I feel like talking to a lot of people, when I asked them what they thought of the seeding for 3A, it always revolved around 3 teams who were going to be the top 3 seeds. And so there may be some discussion as to which side you would have supported to be the number 1 seed. But I do think that if we tier these teams out, that's what makes the bracket the best, is to try to keep the teams separated as much as possible. Of course, if you have a top 3, that means 2 of them are going to be on the same side and another one's going to be separated, but that's kind of how it goes. It's the same way with 4A. Anyways, we had a chance to talk to the coach a couple weeks ago when we invited the last teams in, but we are going to go ahead and announce that Lowell are going to be the number 1 seed for the 3A team state, and sort of a meteoric rise for their program. Some really impressive performances. They had a really nice showing at the Al Smith. Looked really, really good. They got some head-to-head wins over teams like Franklin and Hobart, and some really impressive young individuals on that team, and, of course, a program with a lot of long history. Now, they are the 1. So in this new format, if you listen to the 4A bracket reveal, it was an 8-team bracket where everybody wrestles every round, right? So the 1, 2, 3, and 4 seeds will sit out that 9 a.m. So if you're traveling and you're from one of those top 4 seeds, you don't really need to get there
unless you want a seat
to see your team until you get to the 10:15, 10:30 side. So the 1 seed, of course, will wrestle the winner of the 8 and the unseeded team drawn with them. And so we've been tasked as the Coaches Association Team State Committee, and I guess I should probably give a shout out to everybody who worked a lot harder than I did. That committee was made up of myself and Josh Gaskell, our broadcast partner on WZBD, along with Eric Myers, who is the head coach at Jay County, A.J. Bradley, who's the head coach at Muncie Central, Frank Bumgardner, who is the former head coach at Wawasee, and then Greg Ratliff from the Coaches Association, all of them sort of teaming up to make sure that we had a good perspective from everybody from different parts of the, of the state, from different aspects, as far as whether they're active coaches, whether they're, former coaches, what part of the state they're from, whether they're from inside the state or outside of the state. So I really appreciate all those guys putting in the time that they did over the holidays to make sure that we get this as right as we possibly can. So Lowell will take on the winner of Hobart. The Brickies are the number 8 seed, and they were drawn. The last 4 teams, according to the Coaches Association directive given to the committee, is that the last 4 teams are to be drawn randomly into the 5, 6, 7, and 8. So there's no 9 seed or 11 seed or anything like that. So Hobart will wrestle Martinsville in the first round, with the winner to advance and take on the Lowell Red Devils up at the top of the bracket. On that same half of the bracket, then, the number 4 seed, as we work our way down so that we work in unison here with Joe's graphics, I'm trying to think of how he has it.
There it is.
He probably has it as the 5-12 next, I believe. So the 5-12 matchup then will be Floyd Central. Floyd Central will be the 5 seed, and their unseeded team drawn with them is Terre Haute South. And then the winner of Floyd Central and Terre Haute South will take on Franklin Community. Franklin Community, of course, the hosts of 3A this year, so a very southern flavor to that quarter of the bracket, with all 3 of those teams being from that area of the state. And we're watching on Rex's laptop here how he's revealing it. So good job, Joe, on that. And then as we drop down to, did he do it the way I thought he did it? Yes, he did. Okay. As we drop down then to the next matchup then, in the same quarter bracket as the 3 seed would be the 6 seed, Bloomington South. They had a great Al Smith, Rex. Was really impressed by some of their individuals, some new names compared to the team that I saw last year, have improved that team. And Bloomington South will wrestle Greenfield Central in the first round, with the winner advancing to take on Columbus East. Of course, Bloomington South and Columbus East have a lot of shared history. They're very close to each other. That should be a great matchup. But we've seen Greenfield Central pick up some experience in the team state the last couple of years, And that's certainly no easy assignment for Bloomington South, the most storied program in the state's history, to take on in the first round. Then as we get to the bottom of the bracket then, in the same part of the bracket as the 2 seed, it will be New Haven. They are the 7 seed, and they will take on New Pal in the first round, with the winner advancing to take on number 2, Roncalli. So there you go. He's got it all on our graphics there.
They're just a little bit behind, but I will say that I had Joe gave me a great compliment. He said, Rex is to Team State as Vanna White is to Wheel of Fortune.
That is wonderful. And since we just revealed that Roncalli was the number 2 seed, we're going to go ahead and talk to the head coach of the Roncalli Royals. Dial him up there. Coach Richardson said he wanted to be on the show. I said, well, I can't.
Tell him to drive on up. Oh, I'm sorry. That's a little too far to go. That it?
Since we talked to the Lowell coach at the last team's in reveal, I said, why not?
Hello.
Hey, is this Sean Richardson?
Yep.
This is Rex Brewer and Dane Filling with the High School Wrestling Weekly. Glad to have you on our program as a call-in guest. I know it's a little bit too far to drive up here, but if you're ever in the area on a Sunday night, it's a great place to be.
Yeah, for sure, I'm sure.
Well, Coach, tell us a little bit about how your season's gone so far. And you guys are the number 2 seed. You'll take on the winner of New Haven and New Pal in your first match on Saturday.
Yeah, I just heard. Our season's been pretty good so far. Real solid, top to bottom. We've had some young guys, some new guys to the lineup that have actually really surprised us this year and really helped our team.
Now, you guys have seen a decent amount of the other teams in 3A. I know that you have wrestled Bloomington South and Martinsville. You've seen Floyd and New Pal. How do you shape up this entire field, this 12-team field?
I think our team with Columbus East, we're a very similar team to Columbus East because they're real solid all the way through. They got some good young kids, and they definitely have some state-ranked individuals too, but they don't have many holes, so we're a lot like that.
Now
but yeah, as far as some of the other schools too, though, I mean, I think Lowell's definitely got some really good wrestlers, so I'd love to get to the finals against them. But New Haven's going to be New Haven or New Pal will be really tough in that first round for us.
Yeah, and we were just talking to the head coach of New Haven, Coach Jimmy Lynn, and we asked him how he was going to prepare his team for Saturday as far as practice schedule, pep rallies, Team State T-shirts, travel schedule. You guys don't have the travel quite as much as New Haven does, but why don't you tell us a little bit about how the Roncalli program is preparing for Saturday?
Yeah, we definitely have some Team State shirts that were ordered because we weren't, like, one year we were voted in, so that was a task to try and get shirts kind of created, but we already had that in the making. So we'll have Team State shirts and doing some fun things like that. But as far as how we're going to prepare, we'll probably play a lot of games in the room. Probably play a lot of dodgeball, some mat ball, just to kind of get ready for the big tournament next weekend.
Well, Coach, we do have
that's sarcasm, by the way.
Well, Coach, we do have a local coach here that comes to our show on a regular basis that bleeds the Roncalli Royals, and Coach Wade McClure, who is a frequent guest of our show and a good fan of our show, also supports with his RTC. So if you ever think that there's nobody for the Roncalli Royals here, you guys got Coach McClure can come and step in and give you some support.
Yeah, I bet.
Now,
Yeah.
Coach, do you still have your duel later this week with Greenfield Central?
We have that on Wednesday.
So that's an interesting tune-up. There's probably not many teams in the state who are wrestling a fellow Team State team in between the bracket reveal and the actual match. But that'll be a good tune-up for your boys.
Yeah, for sure. Some really good individual matchups, and they're a real solid team as well. So it's going to be a good match.
Well, Coach, we thank you for coming on the show, and we wish you the best of luck, not only against Greenfield Central this week, but also on your travels down to Franklin on Saturday. We wish you the best of luck, and hopefully you guys can exceed your expectations.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, man.
Thanks, Coach.
That's Coach Sean Richardson of the Roncalli Royals. Where are we at on time?
Well, let's go ahead and send it back to Steve in the studio, and when we come back, we'll have those 2A brackets right after this.
Renowned around the Midwest for his skills and his creative abilities, Nate Bowers and the team at Bowers Paint Studio in Decatur work with a wide range of clients, from collision repair to custom paint jobs for classic cars and motorcycles. Located on Monroe Street on the west side of Decatur, Bowers is your place for body work, too, whether it's getting your ride back on the road or finally getting that classic car, the paint job you've always wanted. Stop by or give Nate a call to put the best in the business to work for you.
Weigand Construction in Fort Wayne is committed to providing quality, value-based construction services, and that commitment begins with our employees. We strive to anticipate and exceed clients' expectations, honor our commitments, and provide for the communities in which we live. If this sounds like the place where you'd like to work, visit our website at Weigand Construction to see our open positions and fill out an application. We want you on our team. Weigand Construction. Trust, well built.
Welcome back once again to the High School Wrestling Weekly, hosted here by the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill, Rex Brewer, along with Dane Filling. And Dane, we've got half the brackets revealed. The show's halfway done.
Yeah, a lot of discussion. I can see our buddy Howie down there talking about Matt Ball being the best. I don't know if you caught on to his sarcasm there on the dodgeball and Matt Ball.
No, it
went right over your head.
It's been a long time since I've been in a wrestling room.
But what do you think about the dynamic of having a pretty tough match as a tune-up for Team State? Or do you think we're so late in the season that it really doesn't matter?
Well, a lot of these teams, you draw your schedule, and your schedule's set. If you make Team State, you make Team State. Some of these guys know they're already in. Some guys don't. So you don't really you can't change your dual meet schedule based on the Team State interfering. So you take those matches as they come.
Well, we're ready to move on to 2A. So put your 2A hats on. Let me find my correct piece of paper. Throw that one with the small print over there. And we're going to do 2A a little bit different because we are going to call the coach of the number 1 seed, and we're going to let him know that they're number 1. Rex is dialing him up right now.
I know this guy.
Hello.
Hey, is this the coach of the Fighting Railroaders?
This is the coach.
The Fighting Krauses, Nick Kraus from the Garrett Railroaders. As you know, this is Rex Burndane filling as we're getting ready to reveal the 2A bracket. And why do you think we called you first? Do you have any idea?
Because we're one of the top 4 seeds.
That was playing it safe, wasn't it?
Playing it safe.
Playing it safe. Well, Coach, congratulations. The Team State Seeding Committee named you as the number 1 seed for 2A, and well-deserved. You guys have had a really good season so far, and I think the best is still yet to come from you guys.
Heck yeah, that's awesome.
I'll tell you what, though, Coach, there's some tough dogs in that 2A. I mean, for the fact you're ranked seeded number 1, there's some teams in there, and it's going to be a dogfight. You know it.
Oh, I know. The top 4 is pretty good. I'm curious about who number 5 is. I haven't seen it yet, but I think they're pretty tough if it's who I think it is. So, yeah.
Well, we'll see in a second here. We'll see here in a second, won't we?
Yeah, we'll see here in a second. We got the TV on. Family's watching.
We've got lots of 2A teams and coaches and wrestlers listening. Why don't you go ahead and give us a little recap of what the Railroaders have accomplished so far and the names and the weights that they need to know about.
All right, so the way the season started was a little bit slow due to football doing really well, which is not a bad thing because, in my opinion, success breeds success. But our 106, Ramon Sierra, has been doing fantastic. He's in every match. He's blowing a couple leads, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. He knows he can win those. At 13, we recently made the drop to have Abram Swathwood drop down there, and he had a fantastic Al Smith. In the Al Smith finals, he had the first takedown. It was a 3-3 match when he got pinned. Great move by the Lowell kid. Phenomenal move. 120, Caleb Asa is looking really good down there because it's more like what his weight class should be. His only losses are the ticket rounders and the qualifiers. 26, we got a former ticket rounder, Cameron Baker. 32, we got Brock McCartney. 38, Kokendorfer, who's been looking phenomenal this year. Didn't have the greatest Al Smith, but he's a tough kid. 44, we got Carter Fielden down. Obviously, he lost to the number one kid in the state at Al Smith. Good match. 50, we did not wrestle our 50 at Al Smith because of points. We had wrestled him early in the year at a tournament, so then we had to hold him out. It's Eli Wright. He's 13-1. He's really good. 57, we got Brian Barrett, Al Smith placer. 65, we got Jackson Ensley. He's a little over 500, but he's starting to figure it out. A lot of his matches were at 75. 75, we got Nate Wells, who's a semi-state qualifier, been wrestling well. Pulled him out of the Al Smith precautionary. He's fine. He's good to go. He's been practicing. 90, we got Chase Egley. He's pretty good. He's a sleeper. He did not really start off the season the way he wanted to, but weight was an issue coming off of football. He's been looking really good as of late. 215, Aiden Hunt, Al Smith placer. He was actually winning all three matches on day 2 at Al Smith and then didn't finish it off, but that's something we can work on. And 285 is Jacob Reynolds. He's just had a really tough schedule this year, but he's got a great record, and he's the kid that's in the mix to go to state. So we have a pretty solid roster.
Now, Coach, having been at the Al Smith, I was expecting to really be impressed by your lightweights, and I definitely was. But your couple of heaviest weights really did stand out to me as guys who were able to grind out matches and stay in matches and sort of hang around. I was really impressed by them.
Yeah, no, they're really tough. And something about Garrett Wrestling dual teams, dual matches, they love that. They get so excited about it, and I think they love the team aspect of wrestling, which a lot of people overlook. And I think that they will wrestle for the team. And at the Al Smith, I think they were pumped up, and they knew that we were in a good spot on day 1. And they're like, man, this would be so cool if we finished top 5. You know, obviously we missed out by 1.5 points, but that's not terrible for a school that's a 2A school at the Al Smith.
Now, Coach, I know that you really build your program a lot of ways around this tournament, but what specifically are you going to do as a coaching staff to prepare for Saturday and to get your fans and your program ready?
Well, the biggest thing is we're going to look at wrestling first. What did we do well at the Al Smith? What did we not do well? And we've already been doing that. How do we need to improve? How does this kid need to improve? How does this weight class need to improve? And then we're going to promote it on social media and then let them know, like, hey, show up to Jay County, support us. We're trying to win a state championship. Like, this is awesome. Come do it. Come be a part of it. And we're going to wrestle hard and then taper down at the end of the week and get ready to go try and win a 2A state title.
And those Garrett fans, if you can't make the trip to Jay County, you can tune in to WZBD Radio and listen to it on YouTube Radio, because they'll be one of the greatest wrestling broadcasters in the state on that channel.
Amen.
Coach, congratulations. We look forward to seeing you on Saturday.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.
Again, that was Coach Krause from the Garrett Railroaders. They're the number 1 seed, and they will take on, in their first match, the winner of the dual meet between number 8 seed Bishop Chittard and Hanover Central. That is the 8-9 matchup, Bishop Chittard and Hanover Central. We've talked to Coach Spengel before on this program. I know he's really high on his team, and I would venture to say that Coach Spengel is going to tell his boys that he has a lot higher aspirations than finishing in 8th place, and I look forward to seeing how they do against the rest of these 2A team state teams. And then in the other quarter bracket on the top half there, did James say they're going to have 4 mats?
Yeah, 4 in a big gym and 2 in the auxiliary gym.
Okay. And so then the other match then would be the 5 seed. And the 5 seed is Mount Vernon Posey. And Mount Vernon's first round matchup is going to be against the Athenians of Crawfordsville.
The Athenians. I've never heard that mascot before.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I'm going right off the top of my head. I'm no Tony G, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Mount Vernon Posey taking on Crawfordsville, and then the winner of that will take on the Belmont Braves, who are the number 4 seed.
Woo! Go Braves, go! Even the South Africans like the Braves.
That's right. The judge likes it. Belmont will take on the winner of Mount Vernon and Crawfordsville in that second round.
No wrestling rumbles here at the Double Eagle.
Now, on the bottom half of the bracket, I can't remember how he did it. Can I see it again? He's not
there yet.
He's got the 3 seed.
Well, see, there's a little bit of a lag.
That's okay. He's got the 3 seed, I think, on the top. So the 3 seed is going to be Delta. Okay, of course, they beat Belmont in the duel 44-35, so Delta got the 3 seed. Belmont got the 4 seed. Delta will take on the winner of Heritage Hills and Yorktown in that first round matchup. Of course, Delta and Yorktown are in the same regional, but Yorktown will have to get past Heritage Hills first. And off the top of my head, it's hard for me to remember because I'm not physically there, and you did 2A last year, I did 1A. But I believe Belmont wrestled Heritage Hills last year in the
they did.
In the very first round. So a little bit different opponent for them, as Heritage Hills will take on Yorktown in their matchup. And then that leaves us with the 7 seed, and that will be Polytech. And Polytech will take on Owen Valley, and the winner will take on the number 2 seed, New Prairie. Anybody who went to the Al Smith or listened into our coverage saw how talented that New Prairie team is. And, looking at some of the dual meet scores that they had at the Trakoff and against a couple of other teams, they certainly are warranted one of those top seeds. One of the things that was really, really interesting, and I'm sure Josh can probably attest to this, for 2A, there were so few head-to-head matchups. I could go through them and list them for you real quick. The only head-to-head matchups between the 12 teams that were invited was Delta beating Belmont. That was the separating criteria that brought them from between 3 and 4. Polytech beat Chittard 40-34 in a dual meet, although Chittard came back and beat them in an individual tournament. And that is one of the really hard things for those who are listening. It is really hard to gauge and measure beating someone in an individual tournament and beating them in a dual meet. And a lot of times you'll see the team that wins the dual meet, you flip it around and you put it in an individual tournament, and the other team wins when it's really, really close. And so those are difficult for us to try to figure out exactly what that means. But, of course, the more information that we have, the easier our job is. And then Mount Vernon beat Heritage Hills twice. The second time when they wrestled, Mount Vernon beat Heritage Hills 36-32. That was the separating criteria in the 5 over the 6. And everything else was individual tournaments. So there were only 1, 2, really 3, because one of them was repeated. There were only 3 head-to-head duels in this entire 12-team field.
That means that the teams are spread out all across the state.
Very much. And so there were some teams, some head-to-head matches. We looked at some of the matchups between teams like New Haven and Carroll and Chesterton and a couple of other teams, DeKalb, Margin, those types of things, against Jay County, a team that was so close to being voted in. They beat Yorktown, but then they had a large margin of loss against Delta. All of those things were considered when we made the bracket and made the seeds. It's going to be a very, very competitive tournament. I think as much as we talk about 3A being wide open, I really do think that for the first time in a long time, there are probably 4 or 5 or maybe even 6 teams who really think that on their best day could come out of this bracket as the champ.
You sure you just didn't get one of those bingo ball things and just roll it and just grab the names out at random?
We did not. Listen, for those of us who are on the committee, and we all have our own personal rooting interests, I'm sure, but when it comes down to it, the one thing that you want to see when you're on the seating committee is no upsets. I talk about this every year. You want to see all of the top seeds move on so that no one can call you out and say, oh, look, you should have put them in this spot. But it wouldn't be a fun tournament if the seeds always held, right? That's part of the beauty of it.
So with that, we've revealed 3 of the 4 state brackets. Now we will take a commercial break and send it back to studio Steve Rouse and come back with the final 1A bracket right after this on from the Double Eagle Grill here on WZBD.
When faced with the difficult task of making arrangements for your loved one, many emotions and questions arise. What would they want me to do if they were here? Where is the money coming from? How much should I spend? Do they want burial or cremation? The staff at Haggard, Hershey, and Zelt Funeral Home can help you navigate these tough questions. Make your wishes known and allow us to make sure that your wishes are carried out. Call Ryan Hershey or Eric Zelt at 260-724-7167 to schedule an appointment today.
Renowned around the Midwest for his skills and his creative abilities, Nate Bowers and the team at Bowers Paint Studio in Decatur work with a wide range of clients, from collision repair to custom paint jobs for classic cars and motorcycles. Located on Monroe Street on the west side of Decatur, Bowers is your place for body work, too, whether it's getting your ride back on the road or finally getting that classic car, the paint job you've always wanted. Stop by or give Nate a call to put the best in the business to work for you.
Welcome back once again to the Hager-Hershey-Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly, hosted once again by the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill. And Dana looked on the future. There's a Monday night. We're on a Monday night. I think it's a little thing called the Super Bowl. I think that night.
Gosh darn, Super Bowl always gets in the.
Other than that, we're here every Sunday night.
In the way, of course. For those of you listening specifically for the team state brackets, you might be interested in our coverage of Friday's girls wrestling regionals. We'll have full coverage of both the Rochester Girls Regional and the Alexandria Girls Regional throughout the day on Friday.
And those of you listening out there, in the middle of the day, Dane and I will need breaks. So if you listen to hear some smooth jazz, don't freak out. That's just because we cannot turn YouTube off. We have to let it run. So might have some film music for some smooth jazz in there. So just hang with us. We'll be back.
Yeah, and I'm sure there will probably be less time for breaks this week compared to last week, as we're in a much bigger tournament, and for the most part, all of those brackets are going to be 16-man brackets. So, but yes, join us for our coverage of the girls' regionals on Friday. And then if you are listening and you're a fan of 1A or 2A and you're unable to make it, tune in on Saturday to our YouTube channel for plenty of coverage. We'll be following Adams Central and South Adams and Belmont, but we'll provide as much coverage of other teams and scores as possible. So, let's go ahead and get underway with 1A. It looks like Joe is ready to go back at his house for the 1A bracket reveal. And a little anticlimactic here because we planned on having him here in person. Coach Curry, a little bit under the weather, but I'm sure one thing that will cheer him up is the fact that the Adams Central Flying Jets are the number 1 seed for this year's 1A team state. And they are also the hosts, as we talked about earlier in the show. If you missed that part of the program, if you're just jumping on and you're a 1A Team State fan, there will be 2 different gyms, 2 mats in one gym and 4 mats in the other. If you're in the top half of this bracket for the first 2 rounds, you'll wrestle in the original gym at Adams Central in the hangar, as we call it. If you're in the bottom half of the bracket, you will wrestle over in the new gym in the Student Athletic Center in the SAC, as we call it. And then when we get to the 3rd round, which would be the semifinals will all be in the hangar, and the consolations will be over in the SAC. That's a 9 a.m. start, and it's bleacher seating only, according to Coach Curry. And you can help support the Adams Central softball team by frequenting the concession stand there. Let's go ahead and reveal the rest of the bracket for you. There were a few more head-to-heads in 1A. Adams Central stood out, their lineup ever evolving out of their 1A football state championship. And we've talked a lot about it on this program, but there is a lot to be said. And we've talked about this with a lot of coaches throughout the state, that winning mentality that comes from one season and rolls into the next, the momentum that comes with a good fall season taking you into the winter. We talked about it this fall when we were talking about Heritage football and some of the seasons that some of the Heritage guys had in the spring, whether it was in track or volleyball. The idea that you've gotten stronger, that you've gotten quicker, that you've gained something, and you take that into the next season is especially important when you're talking about small schools in 1A and in 2A. So Adams Central's opponent will be the winner of the number 8 seed and their unseeded opponent. And the number 8 seed will be the Norsemen from Northfield. And they will be wrestling Switzerland County in the opening round. You know what? Tony G would be disappointed in me.
The Swiss County Switzes?
Was that what we decided?
I don't know.
I've been to Switzerland. No, they're the Pacers.
Really?
Switzerland County Pacers, according to Indiana Matt, at least. There's a website for that. So, Adams Central will take on the winner of Northfield and Switz County. And then also wrestling in the hangar will be the South Adams Starfires. Hey.
They knew they came for a reason tonight. They didn't think they was going to have to sit till the end of the show. They didn't know it was going to go 4-1 instead of 1-4, or else they wouldn't have ate their chicken wings so fast.
The South Adams Starfires, then, they will take on Alexandria. And Alexandria, they are your hosts.
Yeah, be nice to them.
On Friday.
They're going to take care of me on Friday, so be nice to them.
And then a win by South Adams or Alexandria would pit them against the number 4 seed. And the number 4 seed is Tell City, the marksman from Tell City, a very talented program that we've seen at Team State the last couple of years, and a very dangerous opponent, especially when you consider the matchups and some of the things. They have some really, really top-notch individuals, and we've seen some good things from them. They recently wrestled Switzerland County, beat them in an individual tournament. Of course, Adams Central with a win over South Adams earlier in the year in the ACAC duels, 40-27. A couple of other notable results from that group of teams. Northfield had a win over Rochester, 52-24. And I'm trying to think of any other notable wins there. South Adams kind of put themselves in position for that 5 seed with a win over Rossville at the Newcastle duels right there before Christmas. That was an important win for them. Now, on the bottom half of the bracket, wrestling their first and second round matches over in the SAC. That would be the number 3 seed. The number 3 seed will be North Miami, and that's a team that I didn't know much about heading into last year's tournament at Rochester. Josh and Lori and my wife and I were there for the girls' tournament on Friday, and then the Team State 1A. North Miami brought a great crowd. Of course, they're kind of a neighboring school to Rochester, but I expect them to bring a very large crowd to Adams Central, and that's a team that's going to be really, really dangerous.
You looking for a sleepover again?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I do not have to. I'm coming home. I'm sleeping in my own bed, and then I'm making the short drive to Adams Central to cover 1A. Really looking forward to it after what should be a great day on Friday, seeing those girls punch their ticket to the state finals. Looking at North Miami.
And if people realize how much you fought to get that back in the area, so you didn't have to drive so far.
No, it wasn't quite as much that. I felt like Adams Central was really willing to make sure that there was enough room, enough seating. Rochester did a great job last year, but their gym isn't quite the size of what Adams Central has, and their auxiliary gym is not nearly the size of what Adams Central has from in the Student Athletic Center that they've added on the last couple of years. So Adams Central, I think, is going to do a great job. And I certainly commend Pat Culp and Greg Ratliff for continually looking to better each of these events as we've split them into 4. I know you and Eric Myers talked about that on Friday at the girls' regional. So North Miami is the number 3 seed. They will face the winner of the number 6 seed and their unseeded opponent. The number 6 seed is going to be Milan, and Milan will wrestle Rochester, the defending champions, in the very first round. Now, the story with Rochester, for those who haven't followed 1A very closely, is several forfeits in their lineup, but the guys who are on the mat, very, very talented. Of course, this is a team who has won a semi-state in recent years, won last year's 1A team state. You got guys like Lane Horn down in the lower weights and some really talented individuals. They'll bring a great crowd as well, and that's going to be an interesting one for Milan. Milan, one of those schools who they've slowly been building. I was at Milan a couple years ago when Adams Central wrestled there. Not a team that travels a lot outside of their area, But from the coaches that I have talked to that have seen them, Coach Bradley had seen them, Coach Myers had seen them. They both attested to the talent that they have in their lineup from the lightweights all the way up to the heavyweights. So that should be a great quarter bracket: North Miami, Rochester, and Milan. So the last three teams then at the bottom you can probably figure out on your own. Rensselaer Central will be the number 2 seed, and they will wrestle the winner of Rossville and Eastside. The Fighting Smokers of Eastside taking on Rossville, and the winner wrestling Rensselaer Central in the quarterfinals. If you're looking at Joe's bracket right now on Facebook, on live, top half of the bracket in the hangar, in the old gym, bottom half of the bracket in the sack.
See, if you're like me and you spend a lot of nights listening to Mike and Joe on Guerrilla Radio, you'd find out that there's been a coaching change at Eastside. So,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yes. So
I missed out on that. So I apologize.
They're the Fighting somebody else's now.
I got you. I need to catch up more on those things. We do that every once in a while. That's okay. Well, we hope that everybody enjoyed the bracket reveals. We're going to send it back to Steve in the studio for one last round of messages, and we'll wrap it all back up when we come back after this.
Based out of the Indiana Tech Wrestling Facility, the Warrior Regional Training Center is an elite training center for youth wrestlers, high school wrestlers, and college and senior level athletes. Featuring a college coaching staff with a strong history of developing talent and producing results, Warrior RTC will give any wrestler quality training partners to push them to new levels in the state-of-the-art 25,000 square foot wrestling building. The training is affordable, and private training is also available. Put Warrior RTC in your corner this season.
The staff at Haggard, Hershey, and Zelt Funeral Home is honored to serve the community we love and live in. Locally owned and operated by Ryan Hershey and Eric Zelt, we understand that each family we serve and each life lived tells a unique story. Our goal is to offer comfort, care, and dignity to all who entrust their loved ones to our care. We are proud to call Adams County our home and look forward to serving you for generations to come.
Welcome back once again to the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill for our final time here on the High School Wrestling Weekly. Our title sponsor has exited the building, took his wings to go, but we appreciate Ryan Hershey coming out, making his way out here to sit in with us. Any of you local fans that want to come out, it's usually a pretty good time out here. The food's good, the drinks are cold, and it's always a good time here at the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill.
Yeah, and one of our biggest supporters is, of course, Brad Weber and his family. Brad, a big supporter of our show, a big supporter of local athletes and local athletic teams and high schools here, not just in Decatur and in Adams County, but all around. Most of these guys that we're talking about on these wrestling teams are probably also football players, and they probably had an interaction with Brad. They don't even realize it. A great football player in his day and a big supporter of football teams and football programs.
And football official.
Of course, a football official around the state with his crew. And we really appreciate Brad's support of this. And he knows the connection between wrestler and football player. And, you know, a lot of these teams that we're talking about, a lot of the difficulty in our jobs in seating them came from the fact that they had football success. And I think one thing that I've learned from being on this committee for so many years now is I really have to keep an eye out on football, because I know that when I see football teams have success, I'm going to expect them to either have very late incoming results, or I know what I'm going to get from Western Boone at the beginning of the year is not going to be what I should expect from them 3 or 4 weeks later. The same thing, of course, we know it from Adams Central because that's who we cover locally. But there's teams all around the state where you just know, okay, we're not going to see the full team until we get to mid-December. And for some teams, that's an advantage, and for some teams, it's a very big disadvantage. But the seasons run together, and that's just the way it works.
We do appreciate the support from the Weber family. I enjoy speaking with Brad. I enjoy speaking with his wife, their child, and the favorite Weber family member of mine is Moose. Moose is my favorite Weber family member, so shout out to Moose.
Well, we want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. We want to thank everybody for working through our own schedule, having to cover the Colts' final regular season game and, of course, the Purdue game after that. Now, tomorrow night on WZBD, we've got the Purdue basketball coaches show. after that, we will have the Pacers as they take on Brooklyn. Then join us for more high school wrestling on Tuesday as Rex and I are at Homestead.
We're at Homestead?
That is a great dual meet between
we're at
Adams
Homestead.
Central and Homestead on Tuesday. Whether or not you're going to be there in person or whether you're just listening on the radio, that's going to be a great dual meet and a great tune-up for both of those teams. Then on Wednesday, we got the Pacers again as they take on the Bulls. On Thursday, we will have Huntington North and South Adams. I do believe that Josh and I are going to be on YouTube on Thursday because Purdue plays out at Rutgers, and I believe those coincide. And so we'll have to be on YouTube on Thursday. But join us on Friday then. On Friday, we will have the girls' regional at Alexandria. Rex will be there. I'll have the girls' regional live from Rochester. We'll be on YouTube throughout the day and on 92.7 FM. Then join us for what should be a really competitive girls' basketball game on Friday night between Adams Central and Heritage. Then on Saturday, we'll have the basketball coaches show at 8 a.m., and then we'll have wall-to-wall coverage on YouTube and on 92.7 FM throughout the day, hopefully bringing you a couple of team state championship matches. We are going to be very fluid in our plans for what's on air on 92.7 FM. We hope everybody understands that. But if you specifically want to hear one of your teams, you can find the entire day on either of the YouTube videos. The studio is going to go back and forth between the two tournaments at Jay County and at Adams Central, and we'll try to bring you the most pertinent and important matches. And when one match is over and another match is finishing up, we hopefully will be able to switch back and forth. And then also join us on Saturday night for a boys basketball game with Columbia City coming to Belmont in boys action. And then next week on Sunday, we'll have Nebraska and the Boilermakers in men's basketball. And, of course, our show, and hopefully we'll be talking to 4 team state coaching champions.
How can you have a better show than we had tonight, Dane?
Well, we probably won't.
Okay.
I said it.
I tell you what, I'd like to thank everybody that helped make this possible. Thank Joe for running all the graphics that he brought up on his Facebook Live from Indiana Matt, another fine partner of ours. I'd like to thank Steve Rouse for running the board for us. I'd like to thank all the crowd that came out here tonight. I'd like to thank the staff at the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill and also our title sponsor, and along with the rest of our